December the 6th, 2004, and after 18 years as a stage musical, playing to 80 million people worldwide, The Phantom of the Opera is having its world premiere as a film. Directed by Joel Schumacher and produced by Andrew Lloyd Webber, the movie is a long-cherished project, finally getting its glittering opening.
We're really excited. It's exciting to be here because, you know, we had, as you know, an all-British crew, and I think Emmy and Patrick and I are the only Americans, I think, an all-British cast, so it's really exciting to be here, and I'm glad we did the premiere in England.
And it was a big job for me. It was a lot of hard work, there was a lot of pressure, but I killed myself making it. And now I'm here, and I think the harder you work for a role, the more special a night like tonight is.
I think it's everything that it ever could have been, really. I mean, spectacular and sumptuous and exciting and scary and sexy and really heroic and poignant, really, and heartfelt. So I'm really proud.
We keep the spirit of the musical on stage, but naturally, because of the medium, because of doing it on film, you have to take certain liberties, and a lot of those are things that Andrew wished they could have done in the show 18 years ago. So I think they'll be pleased, and you know, and to hear the music done like this, I think will please any fan. To have a 100-piece orchestra and hear this music so lush and so huge is really, really great.
I've never been through anything like this tonight at all. But the exciting thing for me is just the kids outside who just seem to want to see a movie of Phantom. And you suddenly talk to them, and I spent a bit of time with them outside, and they're just saying, listen, we can't afford to go and see it in the theatre. And this is the first chance. So many of them heard it through the record or their parents' albums or whatever, you know, in the old CDs. And just hope they like it, because it's the young audience we need for musicals, not old people like me.
3, 2, 1, action!
Going right back to the opening of The Phantom on Broadway in 1988, and it was very clear that it was going to take off in a very major way at that point. Warner Brothers became very interested in making the film, and we obviously talked about directors, and I happened to have seen The Lost Boys, which Joel Schumacher directed.
I never thought I would get the job because I knew that there were a lot of very famous directors that wanted it. I just thought it would be great to meet Andrew, you know, another legendary person along the highway of life.
Visually, it was, I thought, a very impressive film, particularly as it was quite a low-budget one, and I thought it was very sure-handled. And again, I thought that the use of music in it was exceptional.
For some reason, I got it right away, and we were going to make it probably about 14, 15 years ago with Michael Crawford and Sarah Brightman.
Close your eyes and let music set you free. Only then can you belong to me.
And for personal reasons of Andrew's, we had to put it on the shelf for a minute there.
The two of them have remained friends ever since. So off and on for 14 years they've talked about the project, and then when it became a reality and we were really going to go out and make it, Andrew phoned Joel, who happened to be in London.
So Joel and I had dinner, and in the course of the dinner, I just said to him, "What about the Phantom of the Opera? Don't you think it's time now?" And Joel just said yes.
Joel Schumacher began as a costume designer before he moved into writing and directing films such as St. Elmo's Fire, Batman Forever, and Phone Booth.
I've done so many different genres, and I try to do different ones all the time, and I'd never done a musical. And so it seemed exciting and very, very challenging.
Obviously, there are certain big names for the Phantom who over the years people wanted to play it, and you know, the usual suspects all came up. And Joel said, "I don't want a big name anywhere, particularly as the Phantom, because if I do, the audience is going to come with an expectation, and there's going to be baggage attached to this person, and I can't have that. The piece won't sing as a piece in the same way." And so from the very word go, it was sort of a given.
Jerry Butler I knew, and his audition was the most difficult because Andrew didn't know who he was. He was a nervous wreck, and he had to come into a room about this size, and Andrew pulled up a chair and sat down, and Simon Lee, our musical director, sat down at the piano, and Jerry had to sing Music of the Night.
I'm about to sing Music of the Night for the composer, one of the most famous songs of all time, and my legs started shaking because I was surprised that I hadn't been that nervous up until I was standing by the piano.
We need to have somebody as the Phantom who's got a bit of, as it were, a bit of rock and roll sensibility in him. He's got to be a bit rough, a bit dangerous, not a conventional singer in the sense, because otherwise, when you've got Patrick Wilson as Raoul, you know, who is a wonderful lyric tenor, you don't get that. You don't get that reason. I mean, when you see the film, you say, "Oh yeah, I get it. I know why Christine actually really fancies the Phantom. I know, because he's the right side of danger." But we had to have a voice that could deliver that.
What raging fire shall flood the soul? What rich desire unlocks its door? What sweet sin?
Andrew loved him, and you know, and I knew he was a wonderful actor, and he's a stunning Phantom. Cuts a nice figure on the screen.
No return. The final threshold.
I didn't want to do a middle-aged film, so I said to Andrew I would do it on one condition, that the cast was very young, because I felt that the story, there's an innocence, especially to Christine's character, and I thought if the cast got middle-aged that it wouldn't flow for the romance of the story. Not that middle-aged people can't have romance, but I felt that Christine's character especially is so innocent that I think that youth would assist it.
Close your eyes, let your spirit start to soar.
And Andrew said, "Fine, but they all have to do their own singing." And I said, "Well, that's fair."
I just finished a movie in Montreal called The Day After Tomorrow. And it was actually on that job that I first heard that Joel was going to shoot the Phantom. And I'd never seen the show, never even heard the music, knew nothing about it. So they sent me the script, and I ran out and bought the original CD and absolutely fell in love with the music.
Emmy was just luck. I mean, the fact that this exquisite 16-year-old who had been singing at the Metropolitan Opera since she was 7 and is a wonderful, wonderful actress, you know, she came in at the last second, and almost didn't screen test because she had to go to a family reunion in Las Vegas, and I had to talk her out of it, which I think was kind of heartbreaking when you're 16 and you have your heart set on something.